You know what scares me? It's not hard work. It's not failure. It's not even losing money. You know what truly scares me? Watching a man wake up every morning, give away the best hours of his life, trade his energy, his dreams, his youth, for just enough money to survive another month. And then one day, he looks in the mirror at 50, 60, maybe older, and realizes he spent his entire life building somebody else's empire while his own dreams slowly died in silence. Let me tell you something. That realization, that pain, that regret, it hits harder than failure ever could, because failure says, at least you tried. But regret? Regret whispers something much more painful. What if? What if you had believed in yourself? What if you had started that business? What if you had invested in your growth? What if you had stopped waiting for permission? Think about this for a moment. Most people are not poor because they are lazy. Most people are not unsuccessful because they are stupid. No, most people are trapped because they were taught the wrong game. And when you play the wrong game, you lose even when you work hard. I learned something years ago. Poor people are not poor because they lack effort. Many poor people work harder than millionaires. Let that sink in. The construction worker sweating under the sun, the delivery driver working 12-hour shifts, the exhausted employee answering emails at midnight. Hard work is not the problem. The problem is direction. The problem is leverage. The problem is they are trapped trading hours for dollars. And there is something dangerous about that cycle. Because time is the one thing you never get back. Money can come back. Opportunities can come back. Even relationships sometimes come back. But time leaves without saying goodbye, and once it's gone, it never returns. Here's what most people don't understand. If your income depends only on your time, you are always one problem away from financial pressure. You stop working, money stops. You get sick, money stops. You need rest, money stops. And suddenly your entire life feels fragile. That's not freedom. That's survival with a paycheck. And I'm not attacking jobs. Listen carefully. A job can feed your family. A job can teach discipline. A job can build skills. A job can save your life during difficult seasons. But a job was never supposed to become the ceiling of your dreams. It was meant to be a platform, a stepping stone, not the final destination. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I met a man, average man, nothing special according to society. No rich family, no connections, no fancy degree. He worked at a small warehouse every morning, same routine, wake up tired, drive to work, clock in, clock out, come home exhausted, eat, sleep, repeat, year after year after year. And one day he told me something that broke my heart. He said, I feel like my life is repeating itself. Have you ever felt that? Be honest. You wake up, go to work, come home tired, scroll your phone, sleep, repeat. And suddenly years disappear, not days, years. That man looked me in the eyes and said, I feel alive only on weekends. Can you imagine living for 2 days and surviving for 5? Can you imagine waiting your whole life for Friday? And something inside him finally broke. He said, this cannot be my story. Now listen carefully. He didn't quit his job the next day. No, that's fantasy. Transformation is not dramatic. Transformation is small decisions repeated daily. He started learning after work. 1 hour, that's it. 1 hour. While others watched television, he studied. While others complained, he learned skills. While others escaped reality, he built a future. 1 hour became 2. 2 became habits. Habits became confidence. Confidence became opportunities. And years later, he owned businesses, investments, assets, freedom. And when I asked him what changed his life, he didn't say luck. He didn't say talent. He didn't say intelligence. He said something simple. I stopped selling my life 1 hour at a time. Think about that. Every hour of your life is precious. Your time is your soul in motion. And if you sell all of it, what's left for your dreams? Here's what most people don't understand. The wealthy think differently about time. The average person says, how much money can I make today? The wealthy ask, how can I build something that continues to grow even when I sleep? That question changes everything, because there are only 24 hours in a day. You cannot work forever. You cannot hustle forever. Your body gets tired. Your mind gets tired. Your spirit gets tired. But systems? Systems don't sleep. Investments don't sleep. Skills don't sleep. Content doesn't sleep. Businesses don't sleep. Valued compounds. And this brings me to one of the greatest lessons of life. The compound effect, small actions, repeated consistently, changing everything. Most people underestimate what 1 year of discipline can do. They want overnight success, fast money, quick results. But life doesn't reward intensity. Life rewards consistency. Let me say that again because somebody needs to hear this. Life does not reward intensity. Life rewards consistency. Anyone can be motivated for 3 days. Anyone can feel inspired after watching a video. Anyone can get excited about goals for 1 week. But who are you when motivation disappears? Who are you when nobody claps? Who are you when progress feels invisible? That is where your empire is built, not in excitement. In repetition, in discipline, I once heard a man say, the strongest people are not always the smartest. Sometimes they are simply the most consistent. And isn't that true? A little progress every day. A little learning every day. A little courage every day. And suddenly, 5 years later, you become unrecognizable. Let me tell you something painful. Many people secretly hate Mondays. You know why? Because Monday reminds them they are living someone else's dream. That hurts. But it's true. There are people sitting in offices right now, dreaming about businesses they never started, books they never wrote, skills they never learned, lives they never built, and fear keeps whispering, what if you fail? But let me ask you a better question. What happens if you never try? What happens if 10 years pass? What happens if your children grow up watching you settle? What happens if one day they ask you, Dad, what happened to your dreams? That question alone should wake something inside you. Because whether you realize it or not, people are always watching. Your children are watching, your friends are watching, your younger self is watching, and every day you are teaching the world what is acceptable. Are you teaching fear or courage, excuses or responsibility, survival or growth? Here's something I learned a long time ago. Success leaves clues. Poor habits also leave clues. You don't become broke overnight. You become broke slowly, bad spending, no learning, no investing, no growth. Comfort becomes addiction. And eventually, average becomes normal. That's the danger, not struggle. Comfort. Comfort destroys more dreams than failure ever will, because failure hurts us enough to make you move. Comfort whispers, you're okay. You can start tomorrow. You still have time. And suddenly, tomorrow becomes next year. Next year becomes 10 years. Then one day reality arrives. And regret enters quietly. Let me tell you something. You do not build an empire by accident. You build it intentionally, brick by brick, skill by skill, habit by habit. And no A-beam not only talking about money, because some people become financially rich but spiritually poor. That's another prison. Your empire is not just income. Your empire is your mind, your discipline, your habits, your peace, your standards, your character. Because if you become rich without becoming wise, you will lose everything. Money amplifies who you already are. A disciplined person becomes stronger. A foolish person becomes dangerous. So before you build wealth, build yourself. Read books, learn skills, control emotions, master your habits, train your mind, protect your focus. Think about this. Every successful person you admire, at some point, was unknown, confused, scared, uncertain. But they started anyway. That's the difference. They moved before confidence arrived. Most people wait to feel ready. But confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. Then confidence follows. You don't become brave and then take action. You take action. And bravery grows. I remember meeting a young man once. He told me, I want freedom. I said, what are you doing after work? He laughed nervously. Mostly social media. And there it was, the truth. Everybody wants success. Few people want the lifestyle required to create it. Everybody wants the reward. Few people want the repetition. And here's the reality nobody talks about. Building your personal empire is lonely in the beginning. People will misunderstand you. Friends will mock you. Family might doubt you. People will say you changed. Of course you changed. Growth requires change. And sometimes The people who benefited from your smaller version will feel uncomfortable watching you become bigger. That's okay. Because you were not born to stay stuck. You were not born to spend your entire life asking permission. You were not born just to pay bills and die. There is something inside you, something powerful, something waiting. Potential is a painful thing because unused potential feels heavy. Have you ever noticed that? When you know you are capable of more, but you keep settling, something inside you feels restless. That restlessness is not anxiety. Sometimes that restlessness is your future calling you, saying, this isn't all you are. This isn't where your story ends. And let me tell you something important. Do not despise small beginnings. People want millions overnight, but empires are built quietly. One customer, one lesson, one mistake, one improvement, one disciplined morning, one extra hour, one decision repeated daily. That's how greatness grows. And maybe right now, you feel behind. Maybe life punched you in the face. Maybe money is tight. Maybe you feel exhausted. Maybe you feel invisible. I understand that feeling. But hear me carefully. Your current situation is not your final identity. Where you are is not where you must stay. The chapter is hard, but the story is still being written. And sometimes the strongest people are built during the hardest seasons because struggle teaches lessons comfort never could. Struggle teaches patience, humility, creativity, discipline, faith. And while everybody else complains about difficulty, the wise person asks, what is this season trying to teach me? Because pain is a teacher, not punishment. And there are two kinds of pain in life. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline hurts now. Regret hurts forever. Choose wisely. Imagine yourself 10 years from today. Seriously. Think about it. 10 years, will you still be exhausted? Still surviving paycheck to paycheck? Still saying one day? Or will you look back and smile because you finally decided, enough is enough? Because the moment you stop trading only time for money, the moment you begin building value, everything changes. You start thinking bigger. You start learning differently. You stop asking, how do I survive? And begin asking, how do I build? How do I create? How do I multiply? How do I serve more people? How do I leave something behind? Because wealth, real wealth, is created through value. The more problems you solve, the more valuable you become. And here's where people get confused. They think building an empire means becoming some flashy millionaire with expensive cars and loud success. No, sometimes your empire looks different. Sometimes your empire is a family legacy, a business, a skill, a community, a message, a purpose, a life designed on your terms. And I want you to understand something. The world belongs to people who take responsibility, not excuses. Responsibility. The moment you stop blaming the economy, your parents, your boss, your bad luck, and say, my future is my responsibility, something powerful begins to happen inside you. Because responsibility is power. Victimhood feels comfortable, but responsibility changes lives. And I know somebody listening right now is thinking, but where do I even start? You start small, you start messy, you start tired, you start afraid. But you start because clarity comes through movement, not thinking. Movement, you learn, you fail, you adjust, you grow, and slowly, the person you needed to become starts appearing because the truth is, success is not something you chase. Success is someone you become, and that changes everything. Because when you understand that, you stop obsessing over quick money. You stop chasing shortcuts. You stop looking for magic tricks. And you start asking a different question. What kind of person do I need to become to deserve the life I want? Think about that for a moment. Everybody wants financial freedom. But are you becoming financially disciplined? Everybody wants confidence. But are you doing difficult things daily? Everybody wants a better future. But are you building better habits? Because your habits are quietly building your future while you sleep. And most people ignore this. They underestimate the invisible power of daily decisions. You don't wake up successful. You wake up with the results of repeated behavior. That's it. Life is not random. Life is patterned. And patterns become destiny. I once met a woman who completely transformed her life. She wasn't rich. Didn't have influence, no special advantages. Single mother, working long shifts, exhausted all the time. And she told me something I'll never forget. She said, "I realized nobody was coming to save me." That sentence changed her life. Nobody was coming, no miracle, no rich relative, no perfect opportunity, no lucky moment. And somehow, that truth didn't make her weaker. It made her powerful. Because once she accepted responsibility, her excuses lost power. She started waking up 1 hour earlier. 1 hour, that was her beginning. She used that hour to learn, to grow, to build, to think, to plan, while everybody else slept. She was quietly building another version of herself. And years later, she looked like a completely different human being. Not because life became easier, but because she became stronger. Listen carefully. Your life changes when you stop waiting. Stop waiting for confidence. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for the perfect timing. Perfect timing is one of the biggest lies people tell themselves. You know what perfect timing really means? Fear wearing nice clothes. That's all it is. I'll start when things calm down. I'll start when I have more money. I'll start next year. And life keeps moving. Time keeps moving. Dreams quietly expire. Here's something most people never think about. Every year you delay your growth. You pay an invisible tax. The tax of missed opportunities, missed confidence, missed momentum, missed wisdom, missed financial freedom. And the scary thing? You don't notice it happening. That's what makes average life dangerous. Average doesn't look painful at first. It feels comfortable, predictable, safe. But slowly, it steals possibility from you. And then one day, you realize you stopped dreaming. You stopped believing bigger things were possible. You accepted survival as normal. Let me tell you something. You were not designed only to survive. There's greatness inside ordinary people. I've seen it. I've watched broken people rebuild themselves. I've watched people with debt create freedom. I've watched shy people become leaders. I've watched people who felt invisible become unstoppable. Why? Because human beings are more powerful than they realize. But potential means nothing without action. Potential without discipline becomes frustration. Potential without courage becomes regret. Potential without consistency becomes wasted talent. And there are cemeteries full of unrealized dreams. Books never written, businesses never started, ideas never attempted. Lives never lived, not because people lacked talent, but because fear became their advisor. Fear is expensive. Fear costs opportunity. Fear costs confidence. Fear costs years. But let me tell you something important. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is movement despite fear. You don't wait to stop being scared. You move scared. You learn scared. You grow scared. You start before you feel ready. I learned something years ago from a mentor. He said, if you only do what feels comfortable, your future will always stay small. And that bothered me because he was right. Growth feels uncomfortable. Learning feels uncomfortable. Discipline feels uncomfortable. Saving money feels uncomfortable. Building something after work when you're tired feels uncomfortable. But comfort has a price. And the price is usually your potential. Pain is unavoidable. You either feel the pain of growth or the pain of staying stuck. And trust me, staying stuck hurts more because there is a special kind of suffering that comes from knowing you could have done more. You could have become more. You could have built more, but you didn't. Not because you couldn't, because you delayed. Think about this. 5 years from now, the days are going to pass anyway. 5 years will come whether you prepare or not. The question is, who will you become by then? Will you still be complaining, still blaming, still surviving? Or will you quietly become someone people barely recognize? I love what one old mentor told me once. He said, your future self is watching your decisions. That stayed with me because every choice matters. Every hour matters. Every habit matters. The future version of you is being built right now. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Today, what are you feeding your mind? What are you feeding your discipline? What are you feeding your future? Because here's the truth. Nobody likes hearing. Distraction is destroying dreams. People say they have no time. But somehow they have 4 hours for scrolling, 3 hours for complaining, 2 hours for gossip, and no time for growth. Think about that. Imagine if you invested even 1 hour a day into building your personal empire. 1 hour learning, 1 hour creating, 1 hour improving, 1 hour planting seeds. Do you understand what happens in a year? In 3 years? In 5 years? That's the compound effect. Small effort, massive outcome. People overestimate what they can do in a month and underestimate what discipline can do in 10 years. 10 years of consistency changes bloodlines. Not just bank accounts, bloodlines. You stop struggling. Your children struggle less. Your family rises. Generations shift. That's empire thinking. Empire thinking says, I'm not just building for today. I'm building for tomorrow. I'm building for people I may never even meet. And there's something beautiful about that kind of responsibility, because suddenly your excuses don't feel strong enough anymore. When purpose becomes bigger than comfort, discipline becomes easier. Let me ask you something. What are you sacrificing your future for right now? Temporary comfort? Entertainment? Fear? Approval? You know what keeps many people poor? Trying to impress people who are also struggling, buying things they can't afford, living for appearances, pretending success instead of building success. Listen carefully. Real wealth is quiet. Real growth is quiet. Real transformation is quiet. Nobody claps in the beginning. Nobody notices in the beginning. The gym feels invisible in the beginning. Reading books feels invisible. Saving money feels invisible. Building skills feels invisible. But invisible things become visible over time. That's the secret. The seed underground looks like nothing until one day people call it a tree. And suddenly everybody says, wow, you got lucky. No, you planted, you watered, you stayed patient, you stayed disciplined. And patience is powerful. But patience only works when paired with action. Don't confuse waiting with working. Many people are waiting. Few are building. Waiting says, one day things will change. Building says, I will change things. That difference changes lives. I remember talking to a man who spent 30 years in the same routine, 30 years, and one day he admitted something heartbreaking. He said, I kept telling myself I would start later. Later. That dangerous word. Later ruined his confidence. Later ruined his dreams. Later turned into decades. And the sadness in his voice, Abe will never forget it. He said, I didn't realize life moves this fast. That hit me hard, because he's right. Life moves fast, too fast. One day you're young, full of dreams, full of energy, full of possibility, and suddenly years pass. And you're wondering where time went. That's why urgency matters. Not panic. Urgency. Urgency says, my dreams matter. My life matters. My future deserves effort. Let me tell you something else people misunderstand. Building your empire doesn't mean quitting your responsibilities. No, take care of your family, pay your bills, honor your commitments. But while doing that, build. Quietly, patently, after work, before work, on weekends, in small moments. Because little by little, the thing you build on the side starts growing. Your skills improve. Your confidence expands. Your thinking changes. And eventually, the thing that once felt impossible starts becoming real. That's how transformation happens. Quickly, gradually, then suddenly. And one day, you wake up and realize you're no longer the same person. The conversations changed. The mindset changed. The standards changed. The excuses disappeared. And maybe the money hasn't fully arrived yet. But something even more important has happened. You've started trusting yourself. Do you understand how powerful that is? To trust yourself. To know, if life gets hard, I'll figure it out. If opportunities disappear, I'll create new ones. If I fail, I'll rise again. That confidence, nobody can take it from you. And confidence doesn't come from positive thinking. Confidence comes from evidence. Keeping promises to yourself, showing up when it's hard, doing what you said you would do. That's how identity changes. And identity shapes destiny. If you see yourself as powerless, you'll hesitate. If you see yourself as capable, you'll move differently. So let me ask you, who have you become in your own mind? Are you still introducing yourself to yourself as someone stuck? Someone unlucky? someone behind, or are you beginning to see something bigger? Because maybe, just maybe, the person you're becoming has been trying to get your attention for years. And every difficult season, every setback, every frustration wasn't there to destroy you. Maybe it was there to wake you up. Maybe life had to make you uncomfortable because comfort was making you weak. Maybe things had to fall apart so you would finally stop settling. Think about this for a moment. Sometimes pain is not punishment. Sometimes pain is redirection. And the people who eventually build something extraordinary, they understand this. They stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? Because perspective changes everything. The setback becomes training. The rejection becomes wisdom. The struggle becomes strength. And when you begin seeing life this way, something shifts inside you. You stop feeling cursed. You start feeling called. Called to become stronger. Called to think bigger. Called to stop trading your entire existence just for survival. Because deep down, you know there's more inside you. You feel it, don't you? That quiet voice. That restless feeling. That part of you whispering, there has to be more than this. And maybe that voice has been getting louder lately, and maybe this moment right here, this exact moment, is the moment your life begins to change. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when life becomes easier, not when fear disappears. Today, because let me tell you something, one day, a future version of you is going to exist. A future version of you is watching this moment right now, watching your decision, watching whether you finally choose courage or continue choosing comfort. And I want you to imagine something. Close your eyes for a moment and picture yourself 10 years from now. 10 years. The years passed anyway. The time moved anyway. Who are you? What kind of life are you living? Are you proud? Do you stand taller? Do you wake up with peace in your heart? Did you finally build something meaningful? Did you become someone your younger self would admire? Or did fear win? Did excuses quietly steal another decade? Did comfort slowly convince you to settle? Because, listen to me carefully, the greatest pain in life is not failure. It is standing in front of the mirror one day, knowing you betrayed your own potential, knowing you had dreams and traded them for excuses, knowing you were capable of more, but stayed where it was safe. That pain, that regret, no paycheck can fix it. No distraction can silence it. No amount of pretending can erase it. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you reaching the end of your life carrying the weight of what if? What if I had started? What if I had believed in myself? What if I had been disciplined? What if I had stopped waiting? No, your story deserves better than that. You deserve better than that. And understand something. You do not need to become perfect overnight. You don't need millions tomorrow. You don't need the whole plan. You just need the courage to take one step, one disciplined morning, one extra hour, one book, one skill, one promise kept to yourself, one decision repeated daily, because great lives are not built in giant moments. They are built in invisible moments, the mornings nobody sees, the sacrifices nobody applauds, the consistency nobody celebrates. Until one day, everything changes. And suddenly people say, you got lucky. But deep inside, you'll know the truth. You'll remember the lonely nights, the fear you fought through, the discipline nobody noticed, the days you wanted to quit but didn't, the moments you doubted yourself, but kept moving anyway. And that is where self-belief is born. Not from motivation, from proof. Proof that you can trust yourself. Proof that when life gets hard, you do not break, you adapt, you rise, you become stronger. Listen to me. You are not too late. You are not disqualified. You are not behind. You have not missed your moment. As long as you are breathing, you still have time to rewrite your story. But hear this carefully. Time is not waiting. Life is moving. The clock is moving. Days are disappearing. And every day you hesitate, you are teaching yourself a dangerous lesson. That your dreams can wait. But dreams don't wait forever. Potential expires when ignored long enough. So I need you to make a decision. Not an emotional decision, a real one. A decision that changes behavior. A decision that changes standards. A decision that says, no more surviving, no more excuses. I will build. I will grow. I will become. Even when I'm tired, even when I'm scared, even when progress feels invisible, because someday you are going to thank yourself. Someday you'll look back at this season and realize this was the chapter where everything shifted. The chapter where you stopped trading your life away. The chapter where discipline became your power. The chapter where consistency became your identity. The chapter where you stopped waiting for permission and started building your personal empire. And maybe nobody believes in you right now. Maybe people doubt you. Maybe they laugh. Maybe they don't understand the vision. That's okay. Because sometimes, before the world believes in you, you must believe in yourself first. You must become stubborn about your future, protective of your dreams, committed to your growth, obsessed with becoming better, not for ego, not to prove people wrong, but because there is a version of you waiting on the other side of discipline, a stronger version, a wiser version, a freer version. And that person, that future you, is begging you not to quit, begging you not to settle, begging you to keep going. So when this video ends, when the music fades, when motivation disappears, remember this. Your future is not created by intensity. It is created by consistency, small actions, repeated daily. That's how lives change. That's how families change. That's how destinies change. And years from now, when people ask you what changed your life, maybe you'll smile quietly and say, there was a day I finally got tired of surviving. A day I stopped selling my future for temporary comfort. A day I stopped trading my time for money and started building something bigger than myself. So stand up, wake up, take responsibility, protect your focus. Honor your purpose, trust the process, become disciplined, become dangerous to excuses, become loyal to your future. And promise yourself something before you walk away from this moment. Promise yourself that you will not die with your greatness still trapped inside you. Promise yourself that you will fight for the life you know you were meant to live, born yourself. That starting today, you will become the person your dreams have been waiting for.